Elsewhere, Makueni Senator Mutula Kilonzo is convinced that finding the exact cause of his father's death will be a tall order. The senator says this is after the family's appointed pathologist questioned the validity of the samples used in the autopsy. In an interview with KTN's Aaron Ocheng, Mutula Jr. revealed that his recent summons to record a statement with the CID was linked to the British pathologist's refusal to append his signature to the autopsy report. Well, here's part one of that interview.
A few days ago, you were at the CID headquarters.
Yes.
You've been summoned to explain a few things in regard to tampering with the materials that were to be used for autopsy.
Yes.
Maybe if you could take us through that.
Yes, my statement to the CID arises from the post-mortem.
Mm-hmm.
After the post-mortem of my late father was done, we agreed, because we had family pathologists, we had the government pathologist, and we had a British pathologist by the name Professor Calder. It is only later, 10 months, November 2013, that we come to learn from Professor Calder that he received his samples on 14th of May, which is equivalent to almost 15 days after the postmortem of my late father, and the samples were unsealed and appeared tampered with. That is the point we started having problems. And in his report, he said that irrespective of the fact that the samples appeared contaminated, in his own words, the cause of my father's death was something he called catastrophic, something that was ingested that caused catastrophic hemorrhage. That's why he had 3 liters of blood in his lung. I pressed his chest, when I found him in his bed, blood oozed from his nose. By the time we were at Leafin Row home, blood was still coming out of his mouth. So therefore, the only downside about what transpired is that the samples were contaminated in such a way that we could not get any other samples to send to Professor Calder to ensure that he conducts an alternative examination and therefore signs his report. So he has issued a report with a caveat that I will not sign this report because the samples that you gave me appeared to have been contaminated and interfered with.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you think or believe probably your late father was assassinated?
I don't believe. It's a fact that my late father was given or ingested or somebody caused his death. It's obvious.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why would someone want Mutula Kilonzo dead?
That's a good question. That's a good question, because there's no seat he wanted. There's nobody he owed money. There's nothing that he was looking after other than himself. He was not a threat to anybody, either in leadership or otherwise. So, that is a question that I'll ask myself for a long time, because I do not know the reason why anybody would want Mutula Kilonzo, that nice, legal and clear mind, out of the face of the earth. It's the most unusual thing that I can think of.
Okay, the mystery surrounding the investigations into his death are so complicated. Do you think we'll ever find the truth?
I'm not quite sure, because from what I've seen in the post-mortem, I don't think people are keen to know what happened to him. Suffice to say, for my own purposes, and maybe for other family members, I'm myself persuaded, convinced 100% that my father died of unnatural causes, and in this case poison, a poisonous substance. That for me would be good enough. As to whether we will find the chain of people who did this, or one person, or 3 people, or 5 people, it will not bring my father to life. But there's somebody somewhere who is walking this God's green earth, and that person caused my father's death. And for the life of me, God will pay that person or persons for what I would call absolute cold blood murder of the late Mutula Kilonzo.